Back to Contemporary Black Voices right here at Black Video Network. We are one of the voices for Black America. And my hat is off always to our producer and dictator, Carl Booker. Carl does a great job. He's always off the camera, but we couldn't do this without Carl Booker. And so we're always, every week, going to acknowledge how important he is to make this show happen. So let's get back to our discussion. Lane, first, before we get started, tell us about your book.
Well, absolutely. It's kind of my life story, but it's about the Texas legislature, and the subtitle is The Real Texas Revolution, an inspiring story of 30 courageous legislators who took on this system and changed Texas government. Well, we changed the procedures and the whole process of how the legislature works. Maybe we made some changes. We almost elected a governor in '72. And if you think about it, what could have happened if a person like Sissy Farenthold had gotten elected? But there's a long history of good people running for office and they don't make it. Yeah. But if they stay with it, the Texans elected Ralph Yarber as United States Senator. He ran 3 times for governor, and then special election, he got elected. He turns out to be one of the great United States senators in history. Well, you have to get going, and there must be a dozen people in this huge audience, Fred, that wants to contact this show and say, hey, we got to draw the line. Now's the time. I'll volunteer to be part of the network. I'll certainly give all the time that I can. And I know Mr. Alexander and Fred and Chris will do the same thing. We'll go to Mississippi if it's necessary, have a town hall meeting, find out what did FEMA do for you? What did the federal government, the state of Mississippi?
Maybe what we could do, it's a good idea. Maybe we can contact some folks there and put them on the show, which would give them great visibility. But before we go any further, you didn't tell folks where they can get your book. It's on Amazon.
It is.
Yes.
Or you can order it directly from the publisher, the Peri Publications.
Peri Publications. It's www.peripublications.com, and you can order the book. Okay.
And let me just make a comment. Very good book, very well written. I like everything that you've done. And I would encourage our audience to pick up a copy of that book and read it.
And that's what endorsements that you get from a friend. That's nice. Thank you, Chris.
The Dirty 30 was responsible for the election of Mickey Leland to the state legislature and then the Congress. They were responsible for the election of Eddie Bernice Johnson to the state legislature and then to the Congress. So they've been very instrumental in what they've done over the years. And it's all covered in this book.
Well, we only had one black member. No, I think there were 2. Curtis Graves from Houston and this representative from Dallas.
Eddie Bernice Johnson?
Well, she got elected in '72.
Right, yeah.
But in '71, we only had 2.
Right.
But after that, the big fight was to get single-member districts, which brought on a lot of new members to the legislature. It was a tremendous battle, and we were able to put the coalition together and accomplish some of the most important. I authored the Texas Open Records Law, which is a model all over the country for freedom of information. We changed. Used to, in Texas in 1971, the city councils didn't have to give any notice. They didn't have to tell you anything. They didn't keep any records.
Right,
and the lobbyists didn't have registration. There was no campaign finance. All of that happened as a result of our legislative fight and getting 30 members. Now, we lost by 118 to 30, but it changed Texas.
Let me ask you a quick question.
on this or on our subject?
It was on this. Because I wanted to ask him, with a Republican-led legislature in the state of Texas, do you see the possibility of what you did with the Dirty 30 continuing today with Democrats especially, or across the lines, that people could come together to be able to look at? I think that could possibly be a way to rule when you're not in the majority.
It is, and it's a fight. And I think Texas will change. I think the governor is going to go out. He's been the governor 3 terms. The people of Texas will not accept that. And the policies, they're doing some things at the state legislative level that ultimately the voters will determine. It's not they're destroying public school. The Republicans have taken over the Houston Independent School District.
Yes.
There was only one high school that had failing scores. But you could go all over Texas and find schools with failing scores, but they didn't take them
So
over.
why'd they do that?
Oh, okay, let's get back to our subject for the day.
That's
if you don't mind.
That's another major issue.
Yeah, we can have a whole other.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. Let's talk about the distribution of money in this country from the government. And I'm not sure, Lane, you probably know better than I. How much are we giving to Ukraine?
It's when you tell the whole story, officially it's about $115 billion, but many people are saying it's pushing up to $150 billion, but that's military, humanitarian, and all kinds of other.
Yeah, and do you think that, I want to be careful, we all know Putin is a terrible person, and the killing of people in Ukraine is wrong, but how do we prioritize our agenda? Like, we know that $1 billion of that money into Rolling Fork would let all those people build their homes again and build up the town.
Well, I think as far as Rolling Fork, I think the White House has got to designate someone in FEMA to go there permanently and organize how to rebuild it. Not only rebuild every house, the school, the churches, but put the electrical wires underground. Make sure that everybody gets internet. Do the full quality of living that people deserve and make it a model. Now, there are going to be other tornadoes. Do the same thing. And at some point, Congress is going to say, well, maybe we need to deal with this global warming issues because it's costing our taxpayers a lot of money.
And how much, anybody know how much money we give to Jerusalem? Israel.
President Obama, the last year he was in office, signed a 10-year financial aid of $35 billion.
Oh, wow.
And Israel has free health care and free college.
That we basically are paying for.
It's almost
But it also goes back to the Carter administration, because as part of the peace deal between Egypt and Israel, their militaries, the militaries of both countries, gets direct funding, gets direct payment. So we have billions of dollars that go strictly to the Egyptian military, strictly to the Israeli military to maintain the peace accord.
Well, let's put it right out there. Does a predominantly white-controlled Congress feel more compelled to give their money overseas than to give it into black communities like Rolling Fork so that those people can get well? And I'm not even talking about because of the tornado. Under normal times.
They would say it's in the interest of national security.
Right. And that's what, Fred, you're right on the target that you've got to change that. And if you don't change that, you're going to keep going. Nothing's going to change.
How can you do that? And we're going to talk about this in Hot Topics. When you have these people rallying around by a idiot, Trump. How do you reach these people and realize that black people are American citizens Jewish people may have dual citizenship, but they're Jewish, and our responsibility should be to our people here.
In America,
But here's the deal, though.
idiot is in vogue. Being an idiot is in vogue.
It is, but here's the deal. The majority of people that are on government assistance are white people. The majority of people that are receiving food stamp and housing and welfare are white folks. The education systems, the worst education systems in the country are found in red states. You're in the rural areas. You have rural Appalachia. You have West Virginia. You have Mississippi. You have Alabama. You have Kentucky. These have some of the worst healthcare systems, the worst rates of poverty, the worst educational systems, and they consistently vote.
Well, that's okay. That's what I was going to take you. I was going to take you there. Then.
Right.
And
What in the world is wrong with these people when they don't realize that their interest is tied to us, poor blacks, also? And that has been in this country a way that the leaders of this country, white, especially in the state of Texas, was able to keep black poverty-stricken, or not even poverty-stricken, people on the border, separate when they really should be together. And I just don't understand that mentality.
Well, we only have a year and a half. I think the turning point really will come down to President Biden. If he wants to be reelected, he should respond. And is there any group, individuals that are twisting his arm? Because he can't get reelected without the black vote.
Lane, this is what white America leadership will do. They'll give you a black vice president. They'll give you a black head of an agency. And they'll give out some presidential medal of honor to some black people. And that's all they will do. And to me, we accept it. As black people,
And
we
I
accept
haven't
it.
seen the video, but some individual stood up in Africa and chewed out our vice president.
Oh, wow.
Her reception was
Right to her.
not well received.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
And I've just heard that he knew what he was talking about. He talked about some assassinations that are clearly the United States was part of it.
Wow.
Well, maybe I think that's where we're headed. It's not going to be pretty, but we need to get organized, and it's got to be successful. Believe me, Fred is an authority on Tulsa and how a group of people got wiped out with the help of one of the giant oil companies in the United States.
Right.
Tulsa, Oklahoma deserved help, but they got nothing.
Got nothing. Absolutely nothing.
The folks in Slocum, Texas, that lost all their land, their farms, they got nothing. It's going on and on. So we got to draw the line. I think it's time. It's got to be over. And we need to go ahead and get President Biden and the Democrats to respond. Now, it's not going to come from Congress, but don't you think that a lot of the corporations want to help poor people? American Express, Visa, MasterCard, they make a lot of money.
They want to help people who's going to pay.
That's
They wanna
right.
help.
And let me make 2 points. One, the Africa thing. What they told her is that America views Africa as a security issue. You understand what I'm saying? And so American foreign policy views Africa as an issue of containment. We want to come over there, and we want to basically fight our war on terror on your soil. We don't want to give you money for development. We don't want to give you money for any of those things. We just want to give you money so that we can send our special forces over there and we can fight this war and kill terrorists on your soil.
Is that true?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
Yes. And so that's what. And so
You're saying this is what the guy was saying too.
That's basically what he's telling her. This
Okay.
is how you view us.
Right.
We're a security issue. You don't view us as a partner. This is not a partnership. It is you coming over here wanting to fight your wars on our territory. It's a whole host of issues. Even out here, what is some of the religious leaders Africa is their test bed. So they want to fight this kind of moral war against LGBT communities in Africa. And so they do a lot of that kind of funding, which causes violence. And so I just want to touch on that real quick. I'm going to leave that alone for a different day. But I also want to play devil's advocate. And I want to make you guys mad at me. Okay? So I'm going to make you guys mad at me right now. So
Good.
We're talking about Biden and his outreach and getting reelected. And so just the numbers in this country, we're at 330 million people. We are at about, and I was shocked to see these numbers, about 60, almost 6% Hispanic, Latino in this country now, and probably about, 48 million Black folks.
Wait. You saying Latinos, that's all Latinos.
That's
Cubans.
Considered
okay.
part of the Latino community.
Okay.
And they're pushing about 60 million right now. And so even if you take those numbers and take those numbers together, people of color constitute just over 100 million in this country. But there are we have a population of 330 million people.
Right.
So you have to appeal to the majority. And you have to, if you're a Democrat, you have to speak to the majority. And so when you look around and you look at the Democratic Party and you say, okay, it's a party of it's a party of interest. But what people are on the other side of hearing is this solely a party of special interest? And where's the message for me?
Good point.
And so the Democratic Party, they have to get out of Whole Foods and get into Piggly Wiggly and talk to folks. They have to get out of Bed Bath & Beyond, and they have to get into Tractor Supply and talk to folks. Okay. You know what I mean? You have to get out there and you have to talk to folks, and you have to let them know that I hear you. So this is why someone like Trump is able to gain power, because how else can you have a slick New York real estate developer who can get people in the South to vote for him because he's telling them one thing: I hear you.
But the Democrats lost the South in 1964, 68. Am I right, Lane? With the Civil Rights Bill, the Voting Rights Bill, and they're not going to get it back
unless we get someone who talks the same language as the majority of those folks in the South. Unless we come up, we can pull another LBJ out of our pocket. When this fantasy about us getting Texas back or retaking Texas, that's a fantasy.
Yeah.
Because unless we have a Democrat that hunts and fishes and has and fires a shotgun on the weekend and he's a wildcatter and an oil guy, we're not going to get Texas back.
Well, I ain't so sure I believe in that.
That's the only way. That's the only way the Democrats are going to get strong enough to get Texas back.
Don't listen to anything he said. Don't listen to anything he said.
No.
I'm going to make you guys mad. So I'm going to make you guys mad.
No. The poor white people in the South are suffering as bad in some cases as black people. And they don't realize it, that they're the loser, just as poor black people are losing. But just buckle up for 24. It's going to be unbelievable. A lot of things are already starting to happen. It's just going to be, but all of the elections are important. And if there's 48% who didn't vote, if they show up, it's going to be pretty wild. And who are they? But I think the Democrats are going to have to stay with the same coalition. And there's so many important issues for the Democrats to win the White House. Otherwise, if the Supreme Court goes 8-1, it's all over.
Yeah. Okay.
It's already 6-3, right?
On that note, we're going to bring this segment of the program to an end. Mr. Denton, we want to thank you for being our guest, and we do want you to hang around for Hot Topics.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I talk?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
All right.
We'll be right back with you with our Hot Topics for today.